Uh, Speaking with Reverend Fong today at Leland Wong Day at Francisco Middle School. What's the purpose of Leland Wong Day?
So for 4 decades plus, this guy, Leland Wong, we used to call him the Hulk, anyway, has been contributing to art and photography for the community. And we felt that, I found out by accident that he never got recognized for it by the city. So we decided we gotta honor our own people. Sometimes we take our own community for granted. And Leland has contributed to all those J-Town posters, Nehemiah Street Fairs. He did our We Grew Up in Chinatown t-shirt there. He did artwork in our alleyways. This guy's done it all. And it feels good actually to celebrate an old friend, people that lived and worked in Chinatown for so long. And today we wanted to honor him citywide. And this guy deserves it. He's an unsung hero for the community. Sometimes we take for granted our culture, our history, his kung fu stuff, and old days in Chinatown, but he's tried to preserve that history, and it's good for all of us. So today we're celebrating Leland, but also just the community and the old days when we all grew up in the community together. There's a sense of pride in our community that we need to celebrate today. The Chinese Historical Society is great in preserving our history. We need to keep it up to date. And today, up to date means Leland Wong.
How important is he to Chinatown history, Chinese American history in this country in terms of his art and photography?
You know what? There's so much history that we've lost because we didn't have documentation. So seeing the old picture of Fong, so for example, or even the Kung Fu Club, Y.C. Wong, the group that he was a part of, and just pictures of everyday people. He's got it all, and I'm glad someone has that.
Are these important? I mean,
they're very important.
Very everyday pictures.
Yeah, I think Chinatown.
History?
Yeah, Chinatown history, it has to reflect the everyday people in the community, and that's what makes his work so valuable. Also, in the era that he was taking pictures of, the 60s, 70s, I mean, it was a special time in Chinatown history because at that time, all the kids went to the same schools together. For example, I had to go to Gene Parker, and all the students were all Chinese, and at that time the teachers were all white, right? And so part of growing up in a segregated society, of course it's bad, right? But it also, for us, bonded us even closer. Everybody knew everybody in Chinatown back then. Now it's times have changed in many ways, good and bad. But we got that particular history of us kids. We were the first Chinatown American-born kids too at that time. Our parents suffered greatly. Like my dad went to Angel Island, and my mom worked in Chinatown all her life.
So the 60s and 70s were a tumultuous time, especially in San Francisco and the Asian American communities and Chinatown. I think his best pictures were in that era, the 60s and 70s, where a lot of things were happening. The State College strike, hotel, the gang clashes, and stuff like that.
The era that he's taking pictures of was really important. So the era of growing up as Chinatown kids, I guess that's what you say. There were the 40s period and older, but it was different being born after the repeal of the Exclusion Act, where there were a lot of kids in the community that grew up feeling that we were as American as anyone else, and no one's gonna mess with us, you could say. So there's a little feistiness in history that the 60s and 70s represent. The bad part was, there were a lot of gangs, right? We all participated in different groups. But on the positive side, we were going to make our, remember that song? What's that song? I really like it. We are the children of the migrant workers. We are the offspring of the concentration camps, sons and daughters of the railroad builders. We will leave our stamp on America. That was a stamping period for us. That was Chris G. Yeah. That was his song, you know. But what it represented, those songs came out in the early 70s. But it was like just telling America, hey, we helped build the railroads. We helped reclaim all the lands in California. Chinatown is an American neighborhood too, you know, and you should treat us with respect and pride. So I remember Leland was part of the student group at Galileo High School, and they wanted to fight for Chinese New Year off, right? And that was pretty cool. I did the same thing in '68, and I got 800 students assigned. We want to be recognized for being Chinese American as well. So it's a contradiction, but it's actually the synergy of both coming together, and we need to document that history and what Chinatown kids like us contributed to America.
So some people consider Leland to be an Asian American national treasure. Do you agree with that? And how can we preserve that treasure?
I mean, Leland is a treasure, not only for our community, but for all of America. Because what happened here in the oldest Asian American neighborhood in the country was important. Just as Harlem is for the African American community, Chinatown is our home community. And what happens here reflects nationally how Asian Americans are either viewed, respected, or disrespected, or treated differently. So the history that he helps to capture since the late 60s is priceless. Yeah.
Thank you.
Is that good?
Yeah.
All right, man.
Thanks for
Okay, Chris.